In this video, I answer your questions from TikTok. Alright guys, so welcome back to the channel. As I said in the little intro there, in this video I'm going to be watching answering your questions from my TikTok. Now, if you're not following me on TikTok and you have one, I don't know if you're crazy or what the deal is, but make sure you follow me at Spencer J. Van. I'm blowing up on TikTok. I've got almost 12,000 followers, so thank you guys all for the amazing support on that platform. And I'm trying to drop as much information on there as possible because it's little quick videos I can do every day. But with that being said, I wanted to jump into the comments and answer some of your questions. So make sure you follow me on TikTok. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. And as I always say, hit that notification bell as well, because once per month we do a live stream where we give out some free mini courses. So I want to make sure you guys get notified when we do that, and you can potentially win a mini course. But with that being said, let's jump into some questions here on TikTok. All right, so our first question comes from Jay Graves 3322. And he says, I type in my state, but it will not let me look at a list because it only lets me see if I have any money lost. How do I download the lead? So it's a great question, and it's a really simple answer. Not every state will actually provide you a list. And some states that do provide you a list, they might not allow you to download that list. You might have to actually have it shipped to you via a CD or maybe even a flash drive. Just know that if you're in a state that doesn't have any list, you probably don't want to do this business in that state, right, as far as state funds. And if you're in a state that does provide a list, just know, you may have to actually call the state and, pay a small fee of $6 or $10 or something like that and have them actually mail you the list, okay? There's only a few states that actually give you a digital version of it. All you guys know, one of them is California. Some other ones in the past that have done it is Alaska is a big, very common one. And there's some other ones as well, but for the majority of time, the lists are going to be physical and they're going to be mailed to you, okay? So just be looking for that, and really what you want to do is you want to look on their website and just pick up the phone and call someone, guys. Don't be scared. If you are going to be jumping into surplus funds, you're going to be calling a lot of people anyways, and you might as well start by calling the actual state that you're working in, getting to know some of the people that work there, trying to build a little bit of a relationship there, and figuring out if you can even do this business there rather than just looking on their websites. Because a lot of these state websites, they're not the most well put together sites, okay? So long story short, they may not have a list, but if they do, they may have to mail it to you. So just pick up the phone and ask, see what the people tell you. And one of my tricks is always ask for the manager. So when you pick up the phone and it's the unclaimed property department, hey, listen, can you transfer me to the manager? I need to discuss something pretty important, okay? Say it in a polite way, but a lot of times the people picking up the phones, they won't have all the answers, and a lot of times they'll just make things up. Honestly, it's kind of sad. Where you talk to the manager, a lot of times he or she will know exactly the answer to your question and be able to help you in a much more time-efficient manner. So this isn't a question, but someone put, this is illegal in my state. And there's very, very, very few states where this is actually illegal, where state funds is illegal. A lot of state websites will say something along the lines of, you don't have to work with a property investigator, and you do not have to be charged for this, but that's on the state website. And the thing is, these states have a vested interest in not helping people in many cases. And so really it's our job to take the power away from the government and give it back to, without sounding cliche here, the people. And that's why it's so important for us to level up and rise up together and say, hey, you know what? These states aren't doing a good job. If really they were trying to help people, there wouldn't be $70 billion floating around the state funds. It'd be zero because they were doing a good job helping people. But obviously they're not. They don't really care. So, whether they say, hey, it's illegal or not, verify with an attorney, of course. But in most states, they'll word things like that on the website so that the state can keep the funds in their own account, which sounds horrible, rather than actually try to help people. Because if they were, there wouldn't be any money there in the first place. So our next question comes from Vince Simon 0 on TikTok. And he says, how long is this process and how much is the startup cost? Well, that's a great question. So the process itself for getting started is pretty simple. I mean, really all you need to be able to do state funds is you need a list, you need a phone so you can call the list, and you need the sales ability to close the people working with you, and then you need the contracts. That's really all you need. Now, of course, you need a big amount of background information to be able to do this successfully, and part of that is the actual sales scripts. Part of that is where do I actually get the contracts from. Part of that is where you get the leads from, but it's the foundation background information. But once you have that, you really only need those 4 things, right? Now, as far as total startup costs, it really depends. If you do this on your own, I've seen people spend $10,000, $15,000 on getting this started and not have any business once they're said and done. But if you join a program, and I'm not here to pitch my stuff, but if you join a program like Surplus Funds Mastery, we've already paid for a lot of that stuff for you, in fact, pretty much all of it. And so we actually give you that stuff for free, right? So the typical startup cost for someone in that program is very little, probably sub $500. But for people that are just starting that don't know, the startup cost financially could be a lot more, but even worse than that is your time trying to learn this stuff on your own and trying to aggregate all this information from different sources and government websites and all that is exponential. So it really comes down to how you want to do it, but it can be as little as a few $100s and as much as really as you want to spend. So hopefully that makes sense. Now this is a question I get a lot, and I love this question. It comes from John Finelli 6, and he's got a cat as his profile picture, so shout out to you, John. And he says, why would they pay you once they know they are owed and not just claim it for themselves? In other words, how do you actually get paid? And this is an amazing question. And I get asked all of the time this question. And the way, the analogy I like to use is, why would you pay a lawyer to run your case for you? You don't have to have a lawyer. There's no law that says you have to have a lawyer. You can actually represent yourself, right? So why would you pay a lawyer? Or why would you pay, another great one I like to use is, why would you pay a basketball coach? Like, you don't need a basketball coach to have a team, right? Like, why does the Lakers pay, Phil Jackson or whoever, right? $20 million over 10 years, right? When they don't need that, right? They don't technically need a coach, right? Really what they need is better players. Right? But the thing is, there's a lot of value in being that person that can educate and take someone from A to B. Here's a real situation. If they knew how to do this and they already knew about it, well, you wouldn't be talking to them. They would have already had the money, right? So the chances of them knowing how to do it, but not knowing that they had money are pretty low. Because if they knew how to do it, hypothetically, they would have done this before, and therefore they would have already gotten the money. So the only other case could be that they didn't know, and they don't know how to do it, or they did know, but they don't know how to do it. And in either of those cases, you're there to provide value. If they don't know how to do it, obviously you're the one doing it for them. You're paying the fees, you're taking care of the notary, you're processing all the paperwork, everything for them, so they just end up with a check, which is a lot of value for someone. But on the other side, if they obviously didn't know about it and they don't know how to do it, well then now, that's a double whammy. You inform them about it, you've educated them about it, and you're handling the whole process for them. So there's a lot of value in being someone that can solve problems for people. That's what business is all about, quite frankly. And at the end of the day, if you can be somebody that can educate people and take them to the promised land and take their hand and walk through them and do all the paperwork for them and again get the notary and handle everything for them so they don't have to do nothing, they just get a check. There's a lot of value in that. So that's how we get paid. Now listen, are you going to have people that you tell them about their money and they spend 17 weeks researching themselves and da-da-da? Yeah, and they go and they do it themselves? Yes, it absolutely is part of this business, and anyone that says it's not is completely lying to you. But the reality of the situation is 90% of people that do that will come back to you after they realize they don't know what the heck they're doing and say, hey, you know what, I actually do want your help. Right? This happens over and over and over again with our students, with our business, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, just remember, it's all about solving problems. And in this case, you're solving a lot of problems. Next question here is from Edward Morales 5, and he says, do you get the payments from the state or directly from the person via a contract? So it's a great question. It depends on the state. So some states you'll get it directly from the state, they'll send you a check. And some states, they actually won't. You'll actually have to invoice your client after they get paid. And you'll have them under contracts, which is not that big of a deal, but you'll have to invoice them after they've been paid and collect your money. You can do that on PayPal. If they're more old school and don't have some of the newer technology, you can just do a check, right? You do Venmo, whatever you want to do, but you just invoice them. It's not that big of a deal. So it depends on the state, whether you get paid directly from them or from the client themselves. And the last question we have for today comes from Afar Ace 24. Shout out to you. He says, what do I say when I call them? And this is a whole video topic. In fact, I actually did literally a video series, I think last week or the week before, on what to say on the phone with people. So if you guys haven't seen that, look at onto my channel and look for how to actually close deals, part 1 and part 2. Both those videos will talk about exactly what you need to say when you're talking on the phone with people for surplus funds. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I always love answering guys' questions. I think the next one I'm gonna do is maybe some Instagram DMs. So if you're not on my Instagram, shoot me a follow and send me a message with your question, and hopefully I'll be able to answer on the next one of these YouTube videos. But with that being said, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Of course, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video.